Hey, it's Tim, University of Vinyl. Thank you for tuning in again today to my channel. Always appreciate it. I really appreciate all the comments, all the likes, and if you would consider subscribing to the channel, even better. All of the YouTube creators that I know are searching for the same thing. That YouTube algorithm, that great mystery in the sky. Your help is appreciated. Okay, enough for the PSA. I wanted to tackle kind of a controversial topic today. I want to talk about the concept of a hot stamper. Much like those sightings, those blurry images, those sightings of Sasquatch in the wild. I think it took place in Oregon back in the early to mid 1970s. I'm going to put up my YouTube video grabber software is out of date, so I'm just going to put up a still image today. Anyway, the concept of hot stampers. I don't know if you've heard about this thing, AI. I put in a prompt, a question. What makes a record a hot stamper? I'm going to put this up on screen actually, and I'll read this while you're all looking at it as well. Enthusiasts believe that early stampers made before the metal parts wear down tend to sound better. Certain cutting engineers or mastering choices result in standout sound quality. Okay. And variability in vinyl batches, pressing plants, and equipment conditions can create copies that just happen to sound unusually good. So a hot stamper is basically a copy that, whether by chance or production variables, sounds better than most others, sometimes dramatically. In fact, there's people on eBay, and I think there's actually a dedicated website. I can't remember the name right now. They are out there marketing hot stampers. And they're putting quite a bit of research and development and marketing finesse, groupthink behind their theories. And there are a lot of people out there that believe in hot stampers. I wanted to just talk today about, I've been seriously collecting records now. Where are we? 2025? I kind of got back into this around, let's say, 2017. So seven good years. Wait a minute. 8 years. I'm over 8 years in again. And all I can really impart is my experiences. I'm going to show 4 records, and they all actually do have elements of those themes that were included in that ChatGpT prompt answer. I'm a strong proponent that some pressing plants did better jobs. They produce better vinyl reproduced albums than maybe that other pressing plant that was also employed. Now, I'm also of the opinion that maybe promo copies were earlier off the stamper than later just stock production copies that ended up in bins. Now, the beauty of 40, 50, 60 years of time is that you can go to used record shops around the country, around the world. And over time, there may be people who benefited from receiving these promo copies. And you can find those now in the bins. They might have a gold stamp promo, lent for promotional use only. Maybe they have a different hype sticker. Maybe they're actually a white label promo with not for sale or demonstration only on the actual label. I really get excited when I see those in the bins. And if the condition is right, and if I don't have the record, or I'm looking for a better pressing, most often I will bring those home with me. I don't find them all that often. Now, I had a huge score earlier this year. That reminds me, we're coming up on the time where I'm going to put out my annual best finds of 2025. I may have done one for the first half of 2025 already. I need to look. But anyway, stay tuned for that. It's coming sometime probably after Thanksgiving. And then, variability in vinyl batches, pressing plants, and equipment conditions. I'm a proponent in that thinking. Like I mentioned, I think some pressing plants do better than others. There's also a plating facility that really came to rise in the early 1980s. Sheffield Labs Matrix, SLM. Doug Sachs was a part owner. He founded it, actually. And whenever you see SLM in the dead wax with a triangle, put that pressing on your turntable. If you have another copy of the same record from a different pressing plant, I'm thinking the SLM is going to beat it out. As long as you're kind of like for like as far as the condition of the record. Certain cutting engineers. Well, I've done a whole series of mastering engineers. I do feel that in the heyday of vinyl, and even in the heyday now of reissues, there are certain mastering engineers. Well, they're being just used constantly because they do an incredibly great job. All the usual suspects. I don't even have to name them. You guys and ladies, I'm sure you all know who I'm talking about. Then we get to early stampers. And like I said earlier, who knows? I mean, other than your ears, maybe there's an indication that you have a promo copy, and maybe there is a theory that the promo copies came first or early off of a particular set of stampers. That's really all we can go by. But the most important thing is to go by your ear, your opinion, using your room, using your sound system. Let's get into some records. Now, this is really fresh in my mind. This is Steely Dan's Asia, originally issued in a gatefold. This is an incredibly entertaining read, by the way. There are the tracks. Now, the original record, the original pressing, it just has information about ABC Records. There's no catalog number here. You will find a catalog number on the spine. I don't know if we're going to pick it up. Probably not. But, I'm talking about the catalog number AB-1006, AB-1006. That was the original pressing. I recently found a near mint example, and there's a squiggly S in the dead wax. That's the Santa Maria pressing plant, Columbia Santa Maria's plant. This is a drop dead gorgeous, a state-of-the-art pressing from 1977, mastered by Bernie Grundman. Of course, it came with the heavy stock inner, with all of the glorious, glorious, glorious lyrics. Thank you, Mr. Fagan. Thank you, Mr. Becker. I compared this Santa Maria pressing with, a gold stamp promo. Guess what's in the dead wax? A squiggly S. And there's actually in parentheses RE-3. That means it was the third cut that Bernie did that made it onto the plate. The lacquer. That's the one that was used in production, at least on the early AB 1006 pressings. I have the exact same dead wax information as I do in the previous copy I showed you. The only problem here, the condition is not the same. But I find it interesting because I have multiple copies now. I've got Terre Haute pressings. I have a pressing that was sold for export to Germany. And the best pressing I have is the Santa Maria pressing. With the RE-3 in the dead wax. I believe it's on side 2. I'm going to show a photo of it. That, to me, is a hot stamper. We have several things kind of converging. A quality pressing plant. I know that that particular cut was used for promo copies. Some that were not used for promo copies ended up in the bins. And the third item in the recipe, mastered by Bernie Grundman. Bellissimo. Let's move on to another record in another situation whereby I believe in my mind that I have a hot stamper in my hand. I want to talk about 1972, the classic Neil Young album Harvest, originally issued in a gatefold. A very cool gatefold, by the way, and this is really like a time period piece. You can tell that these slicks were pasted on. There is the back cover. In the barn. This has a very rough, huge texture. Very rough. And there were some goodies inside this original pressing. You had the original inner sleeve with lyrics on the back. And then there, of course, was another just plain inner sleeve right here. Is that everything? That's everything. You will see that I have a promotional copy here. This record was originally mastered at Sterling Sound by the founder of Sterling Sound, Lee Hulko, Hulko. I have had multiple pressings, multiple copies of this record over the years. And this pressing has Sterling in the dead wax on both sides. And next to Sterling is an LH in both instances, side A, side B. You will not always find that. I believe that the earliest pressings, mastered by Lee Hulko at Sterling Sound, he etched LH, his initials, on both sides. You will find later pressings. There is no LH on either side. Maybe there's an LH on side A, but not side B. If you're lucky, you will find the Sterling stamp. Also, later reissues, forget about this kind of textured, rough-hewn cover. It's all slick, and it's a different shade of this burlap color as well. This is the most natural sounding, an incredible example of early 1970s. Vinyl was at its peak. Vinyl production, vinyl playback. This thing sounds absolutely amazing. On the Reprise Steamboat label, the tan label, again, there is a squiggly S right at the beginning of the dead wax inscription on both sides, and also sterling with LH for Lee Hulko. I'm calling this a hot stamper. It's the best copy, best pressing I've ever heard. It is even better than the very, very well-regarded Chris Bellman remaster done as part of the Neil Young, audiophile quality release series. 1972 Harvest. Record number 3. Let's move up to 1977. Randy Newman, Little Criminals. What a fantastic record. And I have 2 copies in my hand, both pressed at the Los Angeles pressing plant for Warner Brothers. And this was released on the, what we call the Palm Tree Warner Brothers label of that time period, 1977. That's the same label that you'll find the debut record from Van Halen on that Palm Tree label. That's the one you want to look for. I've had different pressings of this record, and in my opinion, the Los Angeles pressing is just otherworldly. It has just something that you will feel in your soul when you play back this record. If you have a good 2-channel stereo system, your jaw is going to drop. There's a huge hit on here, Short People. But what I keep coming back to on this record, Jolly Coppers on Parade, track number 5, side 1, Perfection. There's strings on that song. There's incredible players on here. There are some incredible background vocals provided by a couple of the Eagles. If I was going to recommend a 1970s example of vinyl done right, the Los Angeles pressing of Little Criminals is way up there on my list. I promised one more. We're going to go back to the same year. James Taylor, JT, what an album. Your Smiling Face, Honey Don't Leave LA, Bartender's Blues, I Was Only Telling a Lie. This is JT with a little bit of gusto. It's not the later period James Taylor, bless his heart, who is kind of mellowed out now, doing cover albums. Traffic Jam. He was probably actually in 1977 at that point in time. Unfortunately, he was still going through some substance issues. But guess what? I've had multiple copies of this record that you could find all day long for $7, here in the United States at least. Near mint copies. This thing sold so many millions of copies. Oh yeah, Handyman is on here too. That sent this album into the stratosphere. And guess what? You want to find the squiggly S for Santa Maria. Incredibly great hot stamper, in my opinion. Now, if I was going to follow the example of the real hot stamper theorist out there in America, I would need to probably purchase 15 Santa Maria pressings and spend some quality time comparing one Santa Maria pressing to the next Santa Maria pressing to the next Santa Maria pressing. I don't have that much time. I've had 2 or 3 of these though, and I've kept the best condition record, the Santa Maria pressing, as my ultimate copy. That's what I'm doing these days. That's what I think a hot stamper is. I've just kind of walked you through it. I'm going to call this episode 1, Hot Stampers. Myth or reality? I may come back to this topic because I have a lot of examples that I could demonstrate and talk about. I want to thank you for tuning in again today to the University of Vinyl. I've had this channel up and running since, I believe, late January 2021. Check out the back catalog, and I would really appreciate it if you would consider subscribing. There's more to come. I'm not going anywhere. Thank you.